think positively.
Hey, you.
Oh.
Spinner.
Oh, thank goodness. Hi, I'm Dory.
Name's Hank.
Yeah, so I'm a character supervisor. We have to engineer the puppet, basically, that the animators used to create the performance. Actually, an engineer worked on Hank for about 6 months, I think, just figuring out how to do create a new type of curve that the tentacles could use to make an octopus move around and squish and squash, yet make it specific enough that animators can grab any part of him and move correctly. It's a problem of simplifying, breaking it apart into individual pieces and putting it back together again. This is an octopus walking on land. It's horrifying looking.
Yeah.
But there's a complexity of motion here and a specificity in terms of how it interacts with the ground, how it can connect at any point and move.
Name's Hank.
I have to find my family.
That's a hard one, kid.
This is kind of what the art department gives us. It's kind of like a bit of a blueprint, right? So this is a really early version of Hank, and the cool thing here, what you can't see is all of these tentacles were set up slightly differently. We kind of look at it like we're building animation this race car, and we're giving it to them to drive. So we gave them different configurations in each of these tentacles. This is a simple test of, can we get that like rolling elbow, or that elbow that travels down the length that you see so much in octopus movement, where the curl is actually unfurling. It's not bending like a human elbow. And this was a real breakthrough test for us. You can see it's starting to have that weight and slop that a tentacle you want it to have. It's contacting and sticking and then releasing. It's doing all that stuff that we were challenged to build. And this was about a year after we'd started working on it. So it was a long time before we got to this point.
Our friend is in there, lost, alone.
Bailey, you've got to use your echolocation.
Ooh, I feel stupid.
Poor babies. Let me get that for you. Woo!
It just kind of shows the flexibility of the interface. It can squash, it can stretch, it can move around. If you move a tentacle, the whole body reacts to that motion. This is a final animation, and I hid the front two tentacles and showed the controls underneath, so you can kind of see what it looks like underneath. This is what kind of animators are manipulating all the time. Here's that shot final. And with that in mind, like you can kind of see all the sweetening that lighting is put into the shading, and the shading on top of the animation, and how none of us really knew. And then the sim, like how they're controlling the way the suckers are interacting and the extra jiggle. It's just really cool. And the camouflage is really cool too. So our shading artist, he actually applied an animated textural effect all over Hank's skin at this very kind of cellular level. I don't know if you know how camouflaged an octopus can get, but they can change their color to anything, how the light interacts with it, the texture. Here's the final shot you can see at the beginning, the sort of whole gamut. They've got like a projected texture through that camouflage that'll reveal him. And then you'll see all that drippy, squishy motion that we worked so hard on. And then, you know, the animators spent a long time on this shot. I think this shot, from when we started to when this shot was finalized, I think it was 2 years.
This specific scene?
Yeah, because this was one of the first shots that they put into production. So I think the first shot was finalized 2 years after we'd started the project.
It's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears.
Yeah, from a lot of people.
Dory, you are about to find your parents. And when you do that, you'll be
Home.